FF and hexadecimal notation. And the control is, oh, it's a PDF. I didn't want to do that. Okay, you get the idea based off of that. Anyways, yeah. So, oh yeah. Okay. Today, it's easy for me to pick up on a lot of this stuff, and it's not as boring as, let's say, maybe 20 years ago. Even though the video game system, the home video game console, the Atari, was most commonly used in the early 80s, where it was based off of this, I've opened them up before in the past. The 2600 that we have, I believe, had a number of manually, how would I put it? They're mostly of transistors that you could actually count with your eyes, whereas the more recently marketed ones that would have been purchased around that, shortly after that time period, used integrated circuits like oops. The MOS 6502. Whereas the Atari 2600 inside. See, this was a more up-to-date one, where the older ones, the one that we have, has a bunch of transistors. From what I can remember. All right. Which is this technology is dates as far back as the 70s of, let's say, the arcade systems, from that, even during its time during the early 80s, but as far back as the 70s, before I was born. I used the Atari when I was 4 years old. I used to play the game Face Maker. It wasn't really a game. I found out later on that it was actually for an early form of cognitive behavioral therapy for children of the ages 4 and up. It was to help kids learn how to use technology. So I don't know if this is it. And during the during the 90s, maybe it was like, I was about maybe 10, 11 years old, and I was like, I was obviously not like really computer literate back then. So when if I were to be looking at something like what I was looking at earlier, I don't know if I can find it again. Oh, whoops. Yeah, this is it. If I were to look at this when I was a kid, I'd maybe be able to understand some of it, but I wouldn't know where to start. Where it would be like, and today with the current technology that we have today, like the device I'm currently using right now to record this screencast, which is Kindle, um, the speed of the Kindle and is becomes a lot more useful when, let's say, working with the older technology. It would be more fun today than, let's say, 20 years ago during the 90s. There's a difference with it would be more enjoyable.
What?
And so when I was looking through this, I was relating this to as far back as being able to remember that time period as a kid, where it would be like, oh my god, this is such a pain in the ass, or something like that. But today it's fun, so that's why I was thinking about if I ever were able to purchase the company, I would rename it to Bitch. Because it's not necessarily a bad thing. The word bitch is not necessarily a bad thing. It's not. It's good. It's let's say it's there's the word progress is involved in there sometimes. Making progress, you know what I'm saying? It could be a pain, and that's one attribute, but it's excusable because there may be a something else that's just like in between. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, and present day with the way censorship is, it's not necessarily a bad word. It's like donkey means, or the word ass could also mean donkey in a non-derogatory, non-slang way, where the word bitch means female dog, or and then in the slang, derogatory technically may not be derogatory at all. It means that it's kind of like ownership. You know what I mean? All right. So first, wait, I'll just do this.
Stop. Oh, stop it. It's private, Bridget.
No, that's not true. Don't say that. I mean, well, that's like the people who use it to. Yeah, I could see it being used in that context, but that's not what I mean by when I say it. And people would understand based off of the context of, my life and everything, my current situation, my life. You know what I'm saying? Anyways, it's not a bad word. It's not supposed to be taken as an insult. It could be just means like what, pleasurably progressive, making progress in a, but there's a bit of a lag, or a what do you call, um tug of war type thing. You know, there's a bit of resistance, but it may not necessarily be.
So far, two.
Okay.